My sister got married at just 20, had my little nephew at 21, while I'm already 27 and still can't get married. Over the past few years, I've brought boyfriends home one after another, but whenever it came to talking about marriage, my dad would take them into his study. I don't know what my dad says to them in there, but after coming out, those men all become strange and scary, even seeming like they want to strangle me. One new boyfriend thought my dad went too far, but after going into the study with him, he came out glaring and broke up with me, even slapping me twice hard. I'm really confused. What's the real reason they break up with me? What secret is hidden in my dad's study?
What a disgusting woman you are. Aren't you ashamed of yourself? Next time, I should just have your boyfriends kill you, or else you'll never learn.
After my boyfriend left, my dad scowled at me and cursed. Honestly, I've dated 5 boyfriends over these years, and every single relationship ended badly. Before they turned cruel and violent toward me, they all went into my dad's study. Though I don't want to believe people can change so fast, this really happened. I frowned at my dad, hoping to hear an apology from him. But he looked at me as if he wanted to tear me apart. He even regretted that my boyfriend didn't just strangle me on the spot. I know my dad has always favored my sister and never cared about me. When I first wanted to date, he immediately told me to break up, but my sister was only 20 and could marry as soon as she reached the legal age. Why is that? Watching my brother-in-law move into our house, treating my sister with care and love every day after marriage, I really envy her for being able to be with the one she loves forever. At times like that, my dad would kick me to the ground and tell me not to stare at my brother-in-law, saying I shouldn't even think about getting married. When my sister and brother-in-law went abroad for their honeymoon, my dad made me kneel at home to reflect on myself. He even made my sister come persuade me not to marry, warning me not to ruin anyone else's life. I never thought my dad would keep breaking me and the people I like apart. I even wondered if I was adopted, but after hiring a private investigator, I found out I am really his daughter. I just can't understand why he won't let me date or get married. I'm stunningly beautiful and often meet true love, but none of it ever works out. My dad keeps breaking me and my boyfriends apart, so I had no choice but to ask my uncle to talk some sense into him. My uncle thought my dad was going too far. Who wants their daughter to end up alone? He went to confront my dad. Your daughter already has someone she likes. As parents, we should support her, not keep telling her not to date. I think you're out of your mind. My dad silently stared at my uncle, grabbed his hand, and walked into the study. When he came out, my uncle's gentle eyes had turned cold and cruel. He didn't even mention letting me date, and he kicked me hard in the chest.
You bastard, you're so old and still want to date? You're not worthy.
My aunt happened to come looking for my uncle and scolded him harshly when she saw this, but after my dad took her into the study, she also forbade me from thinking about marriage, threatening to poison me if I did. I found it very strange what exactly is in my dad's study that makes everyone's attitude toward me do a complete 180 after going in. Even my sister, who has always been close to me, advises me not to marry, saying being single and free is better. She even secretly burned all the photos of me with my ex-boyfriends and blocked and deleted their contacts from my phone, refusing to let me meet or contact any men. I think about this day and night and can't sleep. This whole thing is just too weird. But no matter what, at least my mom stands by me. Though she runs 3 restaurants and is busy from morning till night, she can't really stop what happens at home. Breaking up with my boyfriends hurt me. I cried and made a scene, but it was all useless. A huge wave of disappointment washed over me, like a hole had been torn in my chest. The cold wind from outside blew in chillingly. My dad glanced at me with contempt and sat down on the couch to watch TV. I walked over and stood right in front of him, my expression serious. Dad, please be honest. Why are you treating me like this? What did I do to offend you? Or is there something about me that bothers you? Can't we just talk openly? Why does it have to be like this? We're family. If there's a misunderstanding, why not just talk it out? But my dad didn't even look at me. He coldly stared at the TV screen.
I told you, no dating or marriage. If you disobey me, I'll kill you myself.
Then his eyes narrowed, glaring at me sideways. I shivered involuntarily. He wasn't joking. Then he stood up, went to the kitchen, grabbed a kitchen knife, and crazily tried to attack me. Terrified, I locked myself in my room and immediately asked my best friend to call 911. The police arrived quickly, and my friend followed right behind. A female officer subdued my dad and threw the knife far away, and only then did I breathe a sigh of relief and come out of my room. Mr. Su, you are now suspected of attempted murder. Please come with us to the station for questioning immediately. Even though the police had arrested him, my dad still looked disdainful and showed no fear. My friend saw the scratches on my arm from the knife and turned pale, tears streaming down her face. She punched my dad in fury.
Are you crazy? That's your daughter. You actually tried to kill her just to stop her from marrying?
My friend covered her face and sobbed uncontrollably. I knew if the police weren't here, she'd have fought my dad to defend me. Actually, there are people who truly want the best for me and want me to be happy. The police officers looked serious and asked my dad why he did this, but he remained expressionless and showed no remorse. My friend stepped forward and raised her phone. I have evidence. Since Su Qian was 20, she's had 5 boyfriends, all broken up because her dad instigated it. He even told them to beat and abuse her. I have all the photos she sent me of her injuries. Those villains must be punished. As soon as she finished speaking, my dad laughed mockingly, his face twisted and terrifying. He motioned for the police to release his hands, then looked at my friend. I'll go with you, but first I need to get some important evidence from the study. If you're afraid I'll run, come in with me. I gasped sharply. I immediately stood in front of the study door, sweating profusely, eyes red. No. None of you can go in. If I'm right, anyone who goes in with my dad comes out the same as the others. Seeing me so scared, my friend put her arm around me to comfort me.
Qian, are you okay? Don't worry, the police and I are here. Your dad won't hurt you anymore.
She looked at me worriedly, but I still held the door handle tightly, refusing to let them in. My eyes were full of fear and helplessness, and even the police found it strange. 2 female officers smiled and took my hand, leading me aside. It's okay, Su Qian. He just needs to get something. He definitely won't hurt you. I shook my head hard, tears dropping to the floor. No, please, you can't go in. My strong reaction made them even more suspicious that something shameful was hidden in the study. One female officer insisted I stay put, and the others followed my dad into the study. I couldn't stop them. My friend even couldn't help but comment. At death's door, let's see what tricks you try next. Trying to kill your own daughter, whatever you do, you'll face the law. My friend was the last to enter the study. She even looked back, winked at me, and smiled reassuringly, letting me know everything would be fine with her there. I stood there, feeling a mix of emotions. I thought maybe my friend's willpower was strong enough not to be affected by my dad, that even inside the study she'd still be my good friend. But reality proved I was too naive. Through the crack in the door, I saw my friend's expression turn from fear to panic, then to anger and cruelty. She was so furious she smashed her teacup on the floor. My dad looked up proudly, as if this was exactly what he expected. After leaving the study, my friend smashed her phone and apologized to the police with a smile. Sorry, actually Su Qian's dad was just bonding with her. He never intended to hurt her. I misunderstood. The officers frowned and stared at me grimly. No more false alarms. This is a verbal warning, next time you won't be so lucky. I felt like a deflated balloon, collapsing to the floor. Their attitude now meant I had no chance to seek help again. My best friend viciously poked my forehead with her fingernails.
Did you hear me? If you hadn't lied about being about to be killed, I wouldn't have called a false alarm. You better start reflecting on yourself.
They all glared at me angrily, then the police released my dad and everyone left. After the door closed, my best friend immediately put on a sharp, bitter expression and stared at me. She even ran into the kitchen, grabbed 2 kitchen knives, and shoved them into my dad's hands, telling him to just kill me already.
Uncle, you're right. Su Qian is such a worthless woman. She has a perfectly fine life but insists on dating. Since she's so disobedient, you might as well kill her. A trash like her is just wasting oxygen in this world, better off dead.
Tears instantly streamed down my face as I stared at her in disbelief.
Lin Shuang, do you even know what you're saying? You're supposed to be my best friend.
She coldly shook off my hand, her expression indifferent.
I'm just telling the truth. You brought this on yourself.
My heart felt like it was being torn apart. This was my best friend since childhood. I couldn't believe she had become like this. When I was punished by my dad as a child and wasn't allowed to eat, she secretly brought me a flatbread, hiding outside my door, so I wouldn't starve. She promised she would treat me like a sister forever and always be good to me. Before, I held her hand while we walked. What if I really can't get married someday? I asked. Her eyes shone with warmth and sincerity. It's okay if you don't get married. I bought a house, you can live with me. I won't marry either. I'll take care of you for life. We can even adopt a child. From now on, we'll be family. She always told me not to be sad, that men can change easily and probably didn't truly love me anyway, so it was better I didn't marry. But now, she's no different from those men. My heart felt like it was hammered hard, dull pain spreading through my body, and a thorny suspicion wrapped tight around my mind, suffocating me. I'm very curious, what kind of power does my dad's study hold that makes the people who love and care for me instantly change their attitude, even to the point of wanting me dead? After that day, my best friend and I completely cut off contact and became strangers. Although I wasn't physically hurt, the psychological damage was huge, and for a long time afterward, I sought counseling from a therapist, trying to find my happiness again. My dad and sister never cared about me, they only kept controlling and oppressing me. Later, I finally waited for my mom's annual vacation. She always takes some time off each year to spend with family. Knowing I had been to therapy, she felt very guilty. She came into my room, stood by my bed, looking at me with vacant eyes, tears streaming down her face. She held me tightly in her arms. Qian, it's all Mom's fault. I've tried to reason with your dad many times, but he just won't listen. My mom looked pained, as if she herself was suffering mentally. I understood how hard it was for her. If it weren't for her love, I probably wouldn't have made it this far. Whenever Dad deliberately scolded or hit me, Mom would always stand up for me without hesitation. She and my dad have known and loved each other for decades. She knows his stubborn temper, so she tries to make up for his abuse by treating me even better. But she's busy running her restaurants from morning till night, and I'm usually asleep by the time she gets home late. Still, I can feel her love for me. That's how I know there's someone in this world who loves me and won't exclude me for some strange reason. I've thought about moving out, but my dad watches me closely every day, afraid I'll secretly marry someone if I leave. He explicitly said if I move out, he'll make my life miserable beyond belief. The image of that study flashes in my mind, and I shiver. I held my mom's arm and softly coaxed. Mom, will you listen to everything I say? She gently stroked my head and said, Yes, Qian, your mom's beloved daughter. No matter what you say, I'll listen. I looked at her earnestly. Then you absolutely cannot go into Dad's study. Can you promise me that? Is there something hidden in your dad's study? I don't know. But please don't go in, okay? Don't get upset, sweetie. Mom will listen. If you say not to go in, I won't go in. Mom, you're so good to me. Of course. Mom will always be good to you. My mom's expression was serious. I believed her. If she doesn't enter Dad's study, she won't be brainwashed by him, so she'll keep loving me as always. Mom also said Dad is stubborn and reclusive, so I shouldn't take it to heart. She even arranged a good match for me on a dating site, saying no parent would forbid their daughter from marrying, that it was nonsense. I felt very relieved and agreed to meet the guy that weekend. But the next day, Mom told me the date was cancelled. We had planned to have breakfast early together, but she didn't wake me up, and I slept until noon. I thought she was busy at the restaurant, but when I opened the door, she threw a bowl from the table at my head. My forehead hurt badly, blood dripping onto the floor. Dad's forehead veins bulged. You're lazy every day, don't do any work, just sleep in. why don't you just die already so I can bury you? Fear and grief overwhelmed me, tears poured down like broken beads. Mom sat at the table eating braised ribs, completely ignoring me. Dad looked smug, grabbed a whip, and lashed me painfully. I cried out loud.
Dad, I don't understand what I did wrong. You've been breaking me and the people I like apart for years, and now you want to beat me to death?
Dad's nostrils flared violently, every breath seeming to vent his rage.
Better if I kill you. Seeing you around every day makes me want to tear your muscles and skin off. You want to get married? When you're dead, I'll arrange a ghost marriage for you.
The whip cracked hard against me, tearing flesh and spraying blood. The excruciating pain made me scream uncontrollably, my voice hoarse, my whole body wild with agony, my mind swallowed by endless suffering. Mom kept eating while scrolling through short videos, laughing loudly, not caring if I'd be beaten to death. The next moment, I struggled to my mom.
Mom, please make Dad stop. He's really going to kill me.
I thought she'd be furious and push Dad away, holding me tightly. But she was indifferent. She glanced at me impatiently.
Who told you to keep provoking your dad?
It's normal for him to discipline you. My head felt numb and swollen, my arms trembling. I suspected my mom had also been in Dad's study. I cried desperately.
Mom, tell me, have you been in Dad's study? You said you'd listen to me and never go in. And you promised to go on a date with me, did you forget?
I screamed hysterically, Dad's face turned red with anger. Mom slammed chopsticks into my face.
Are you annoying or what? Who went into the study? With your behavior, you don't deserve to marry. If you don't listen, I'll have your dad strangle you so you don't ruin any men.
Now, my mom has changed. Like everyone else around me, she forbids me from dating or marrying and wishes I'd just die if I don't obey. If I'm right, my mom has been in that strange study too. Otherwise, how could the gentle, kind woman she used to be yell at me like this? My sister and brother-in-law dressed up to go out. When they saw me bleeding from being beaten, they weren't surprised but coldly left. Dad's fists rained down on me, I curled up, each hit like a heavy hammer to my vital spots, pain making my vision black and sweat pour down. After he was done, he stopped. Mom coquettishly leaned against Dad and went to the bedroom with him. Both my mind and body suffered immense harm. I even felt the source of this pain was inexplicable. I don't understand, I am a normal girl, why can't I date and marry like others? It's summer, but I feel a chill in my heart. Now Mom doesn't want me either. If I stay here, I'll be tortured to death someday. Late at night, I secretly packed important documents into my backpack, planning to leave as soon as they fell asleep. But when I quietly left the living room, I saw the study light on. Through the crack in the door, I saw Dad sitting at the desk with a sinister, eerie smile stretching almost to his ears. I froze, a cold shiver running through me from head to toe. Now I finally understood why Dad forbids me to date or marry. Before I could escape, Dad caught me. He beat me mercilessly and confiscated all my documents. He went crazy, beating me brutally, his eyes full of uncontrollable rage.
You little beast, I'll kill you right now. You little bitch, I let you run? I let you be disobedient?
I was like a fragile piece of paper, taking blow after blow, my body torn and aching, my spirit utterly broken. The sharp, stabbing pain in my chest even overshadowed the physical discomfort throughout my body. Suddenly, loud sounds of violent hitting echoed through the house. My sister and brother-in-law, thinking there was a burglar, rushed out to check. But when they saw it was me being beaten, they both visibly relaxed. Their eyes were cold and cruel as they stood aside, watching me with indifference. At that moment, if I begged them for help, they would surely ignore me like before. I was utterly hopeless. So I just lay down on the floor, opening myself up, letting my dad's fists pound my body without any plea for help. I gritted my teeth as tears streamed down my face. Dad, if you want me dead so badly, then just send me off. My dad seemed stunned by my words but continued to harshly beat me. Before I completely lost consciousness, I saw my sister and brother-in-law pointing at me and laughing hysterically, clutching their stomachs until tears came out. Their lips moved with malice. They even kicked my head with their feet, saying it was great if I died, I wouldn't be thinking about getting married anymore. I felt certain this time I was going to die. Honestly, if I really died, it might be better I wouldn't have to suffer in this world anymore. But when I woke up, I found myself in a place I didn't recognize at all. It was a rundown rural area, but the house I was in was relatively clean and tidy. My whole body was wrapped in bandages, the smell of ointment strong in the air. It seemed I had already been treated. I was still alive. Soon, a police officer came in holding a lunchbox. Seeing me sit up, he immediately asked if I was feeling better.
That's great, you're finally awake. This is a safe house set up by the police. As long as you stay here, no one can find or bother you. Now, can you tell me everything completely?
I was very surprised. How did you bring me here? Officer Fong told me. My partner and I were patrolling past your house when we heard your screams. We broke in and saw you covered in blood, lying on the floor. Your dad has already been taken to the station. We will make sure justice is done. He was furious.
If we hadn't rushed you to the hospital for emergency treatment, you would have died.
I thanked him. Maybe fate still wanted me to live. Officer Fong stared at me in disbelief.
It seems your father's domestic violence isn't a one-time thing. You could have sought help or called the police.
I sneered. In fact, I have been seeking help constantly, but even calling the police was blocked by my dad. Everyone around me testified on his behalf, saying he never hurt me and that I brought it all on myself. At first, I complained to relatives, but whenever they went into the study with my dad, their faces twisted into hatred, and they even wished I were dead. All my ex-boyfriends and my best friend ended up with the same attitude. After breaking up, I even cried and begged them to stay, but they were cold and told me to never contact them again. Even trying to run away was useless. I would always be caught by my dad and beaten half to death. That day, I told Officer Fong all my painful experiences. He cried with me, deeply moved by my suffering, clenching his fists in anger. He reassured me. It's okay, no one will bully you anymore. I will protect you. He told me he would take me home to collect evidence and make sure my dad goes to jail, never to harm anyone again. Soon, Officer Fong sent someone to take me home. But it wasn't to collect evidence, it was really to bring me back to live there. Officer Lin, who took me home, was puzzled.
I wasn't at the scene, but other officers said that after Fong escorted your dad home, he was very angry and argued with him.
He fiercely asked your father why he abused his daughter, but your dad just smiled sinisterly and refused to confess. When Fong punched the wall in anger, your dad suddenly ran and hid in a bedroom. Fong followed him in. I knew Fong had gone into the study. Like the others, Fong came out of the study dazed and expressionless, completely stunned. Other officers waited for his orders, but he smiled and personally untied my dad. This was all a misunderstanding. I just learned that Su Qian had a car accident recently, and her injuries were caused by that, unrelated to you. My dad returned home safely. This was completely expected. I was no longer shocked by such things. I only asked Officer Lin to take me away quickly. I didn't want to live in that house. Though he didn't know the full story, he respected my wishes. I secretly rented a place outside without telling any relatives or friends and started living the life I wanted. Half a year later, I ran into Officer Fong at a convenience store downstairs. He looked apologetic.
Sorry, I promised you but didn't deliver.
I smiled and shook my head. It's okay, I know you tried your best. No one can normally come out of my dad's study. I know even he couldn't control himself. We talked a lot. He said my dad had been searching for me, so I must be very careful. If he catches me again, I'll face terrible things. I nodded and thanked Officer Fong. But the terrifying thing was, after I left the store, my parents were standing across the street staring at me. Fear grew wildly inside me. I ran as fast as I could, heart pounding. After running a long way, I ducked into an alley but soon bumped into a man. It was my dad. A chill ran down my spine, and his fierce gaze left me speechless. He grabbed me and took me home. I only remember crying for a long time that day, but no matter how much I begged, they refused to untie the ropes binding me. My sister sat beside me, eating sunflower seeds with a smug look, laughing that I dared to run away. She said it was just asking for death. The door creaked open, and Dad hurried in, followed by a doctor. He looked familiar, worried, and kind. He walked up to me in a few steps, his gentle demeanor almost magical in its comfort. When he saw me, he frowned deeply.
Her condition is worsening. I suggest you take her to the hospital for treatment. Dragging this out won't help.
I was very surprised, kicking and struggling. Let me go. I'm not sick. Are you trying to lock me in a hospital for abuse? Dad, if you don't like me, why not just kill me? Why treat me like this? The beating I feared didn't happen. Dad's eyes were red as he sat beside me and held me tightly. Mom came in too, crying and wiping tears, looking very sad. Child, you've misunderstood your dad. From beginning to end, he loves you very much. Your family, we would never abuse you or want you dead. I glared at them with bloodshot eyes. Then tell me, what secret is hidden in Dad's study? Why do all the men leave me after seeing it? Did you curse them? I bit my dad's arm wildly. He winced but gritted his teeth without crying out. Mom's face turned pale with fright as she hurried to calm me. Good child, let go of your dad. If you want to see the study, we'll take you there again. Again? What does that mean? I'd never been in the study before. Just as I was puzzled, my parents took me into the study. It was my first time inside, but it felt strangely familiar, as if I had been there many times before. The furnishings and layout seemed like I had arranged them myself. Mom sniffled and turned on the projector. On the screen appeared a shocking, eerie scene. I gasped. It was surveillance footage from my room. The man lying asleep on the bed was my first boyfriend, Guiyong Chao. He was peacefully sleeping, but my face was twisted with excitement and greed as I raised a kitchen knife and suddenly swung it down on his head. I screamed in terror, closing my eyes and unable to watch any longer, my heart pounding wildly. Mom tearfully turned off the video and came to me. She rolled up her sleeves, then rolled up the sleeves of my dad and sister's husband. They all had bite marks on their arms, deep and shallow, shocking to see. My heart sank.
What's going on?
Mom sighed.
Actually, you were married. Guiyong Chao was your first boyfriend. When you happily brought him home, your dad and I agreed to the marriage. Once, after you returned to your parents' home, you sleepwalked into the kitchen, grabbed a knife, saying you wanted to cut a watermelon, and then the scene you just saw happened. Guiyong Chao was seriously injured, almost died. Your dad and I spent a fortune compensating his family, who didn't pursue the matter further. But we noticed your behavior became strange. You started talking nonsense and having hallucinations, saying we beat and scolded you. We took you to the hospital, and after a long treatment, you improved.
But I can't recall any of this. She told me that after divorcing Guiyong Chao, I dated 4 more boyfriends. They all promised to love and protect me, but when it came to marriage, my dad told them about my schizophrenia. Those men all fled quietly as soon as they heard I was ill and might harm others. The vows we once made seemed so insignificant in the face of illness. My parents, not wanting me to feel abandoned in the hospital, took me home to care for me with medication. At first, I took my medicine on time, and my condition was well controlled. But one night, I flushed my medication down the toilet, and after that, I completely lost control, becoming delusional and paranoid, convinced someone was out to get me and that no one around me was good. The injuries on my family's arms were from when I tried to escape and bit them while they tried to hold me back. They weren't trying to abuse me, they just wanted me to accept treatment and live a normal, happy life. Seeing their pain made me realize how extreme my behavior had been. No wonder every time I felt abused, my dad escaped punishment because he never actually hit me. It was all my own delusions. Learning that my parents had spent years seeking the best doctors and enduring great pressure to help me recover overwhelmed me with guilt and gratitude, flooding me with tears. I staggered over and hugged them tightly, pouring all my thanks and love into that embrace. I promised to stay in the hospital and receive treatment. Life in the hospital wasn't as hard as I imagined. I took my medicine on schedule every day, played ping pong and chess with other patients, snacked while watching TV, and chatted with them living a leisurely life. I knew that as long as I took my medication, I had a chance at a new life. My parents' and sister's husbands stopped disturbing me to ensure I could focus on recovery, promising to celebrate when I was discharged so I could rest easy. But a year later, I unexpectedly met Guiyong Chao in the psychiatric hospital. He was truly insane and covered in wounds, apparently sent there by his family. But after watching him for a long time, I noticed his head had no wounds. Wasn't he supposed to have been injured by me? I stared at his handsome face, my doubts lingering. Late one night, Guiyong Chao sneaked into my ward. Just as I was about to scream for help, he covered my mouth.
Shoo! Don't make a sound. If you scream, we're both dead.
I pulled his hand away and asked,
You're not crazy? Then why pretend to be sick and come here?
Of course, I'm here for you. I heard you were hospitalized. Your parents are good at pretending. But I have evidence of their crimes. Don't worry, the bad guys will be punished. It turned out Guiyong Chao was undercover. He swore his marriage to me was genuine love, but his mission was tough, and he had to finish it before we could reunite.
Your parents aren't your biological parents. For years, they've been kidnapping young girls to film stunning videos and sell them online. You are the most beautiful among them. A wealthy buyer wanted to pay a lot for you, but you were always disobedient, so they beat you to death. Your sister isn't your real sister either. She's one of thousands of victims. Because she reported them, I investigated your family's truth. Your foster parents told everyone you have schizophrenia and even faked videos to cover it up, so they escaped the police. But this time, they won't get away. You don't remember us because your foster parents gave you electroshock therapy, erasing most of your memories. You only ever had me as a husband. The stories about 4 other boyfriends are lies to brainwash you. I've been looking for you for a long time, but they kept moving, so I couldn't find you.
Guiyong Chao took me away overnight, and I became a key witness against my foster parents. The police found that the hospitalized women were all kidnapped and sold in videos numbering in the tens of thousands. Because of the deaths involved, my foster parents and over a dozen criminals were arrested and sentenced to death. When I returned to my hometown to find my biological parents, I discovered they had died in a car accident the year I was kidnapped while searching for me. I wandered home dazed. Guiyong Chao, dressed sharply in a suit, holding a diamond ring and flowers, gently took my hand when he saw me. Qian, you suffered in the past. From now on, I'll always be here to care for and love you. Will you remarry me? I laughed through my tears and ran into his arms. I said yes.